Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. For the sake of those who have not attended Satsang session, which was held a couple of days back, spirituality directs us to go to the source of our and the world origin. Normally, when we start with dealing with men and matters, we start from our present level. The me and mine in all of us is the one which evaluates and then responds to the situation. At times, we are happy with the decision we have taken or the attitude with which we have done. At times, we are not. And again, it goes on right from morning till evening. During our entire waking state, this has been going on in us. And many a time when we feel we are not happy or we are not comfortable with what is going on, we do not know the technique by which we can set the body, mind, intellect right. There comes the relevance of spirituality. Spirituality asks us to go back to our own source. Before the me and mind started functioning in us, there is a source which we hardly think about. To put it bluntly, when all of us were in the form of a seed in our mother's womb, this present me and mine in us were not there. As one saint has put it, we were not even consulted when we were in the form of a seed in our mother's womb. Kindly think about it. The present me and mine in us which decides, which thinks that I am the doer, I am the planner, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer. This was not there at the time of my mother conceived me. So it came only later. The present me and mine had no role in it, in deciding. Me and mine in us, which is always making us aware that we are the doers, we are the enjoyers, we are the sufferers, we are the planners. It had no role when when my mother conceived me as a seed. So we have been asked to go back to our source. Probably that may give us a different norm in dealing with men and matters. That is an effort we are all trying to make. And here comes the relevance of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita is called a celestial song. It is universal, absolutely universal. And it tries to help us to know our source, not only our source, the source of the entire world. So this is the background. So while we approach Bhagavad-Gita, if this is very clear in us, that we are trying to understand our own source, so that we will be able to handle everything with a serene mind, calm and quiet mind, free from prejudices, free from preconceived notions, so that our judgment or our reaction will not disturb us. Because all of us need a peace of mind, at the end of the day, we need peace of mind. So this is what is enlightened. So many of you might know that we come from a spiritual institution named Ananda Ashram in India, South India, in Kerala. And the founder saint, Param Pujya, most revered, Swami Ramdas, endearingly called by his devotees as beloved Papa, he introduces Bhagavad-Gita through these words. The Bhagavad-Gita is a veritable mosaic of eternal wisdom. It has not left unsolved a single problem pertaining to the conduct of human life, both in its spiritual and physical spheres. For the highest truths of philosophy, and also for a perfect light on the practical side of life. This is very important. Not a tall talk, not something which is disconnected with our daily life. So, for the highest truths of philosophy and also for a perfect light on the practical side of life, one has to go through this great work. The message of the entire Gita is to reveal the harmony and identity of the soul with God and of God with nature. It must be within the experience of every student of the Gita that the majority of the commentators on this great scripture have drawn out such truths from it as would coincide with their own views and predilections, and have presented to them the world as the whole secret of this many-sided, all-comprehensive mine of wisdom. When you and I approach Bhagavad-Gita, this will be the same thing. Some read it into the Gita an emphatic call to renounce all action in the world as the ultimate goal. Some others argue that the Gita holds devotion to a personal God as the essential creed of it. Some would have wit that the Gita urges the soul to plunge into action, making that alone the sole criterion and the one necessary condition of human existence. Again, some others, taking the Mahabharata war, including the Gita, as only an allegorical exposition of the external truths, interpret the teachings from their viewpoint as embodying an uncompromising cult of ahimsa. Each one of these expounders of the Gita is right from the angle of vision by which he has struggled to understand the scripture. But the whole truth enshrined in its 18 chapters is all that they have said put together and much more besides. It is something like, you go to the ocean and take a palm full of water. That is all we can hold, in our hand. It is not the whole. So what my mind can take, that only I am presenting, All the commentators, it is exactly like a palm full of water taken from the ocean. So it doesn't become comprehensive. That is why here, beloved Papa says, but the whole truth enshrined in its 18 chapters is all that they have said put together and much more besides. To understand life and realize its glory integrally, one has to study the Gita in all its phases and from all standpoints. To have a partial view of a particular aspect of it alone and to hold forth that has the whole truth has been the cause of imperfection in spiritual experience. So the synopsis of his entire message, the purpose of the Gita is to proclaim that human life is essentially divine spiritually, mentally, physically. The purpose of the Gita is to proclaim that human life is essentially divine. Spiritually, mentally, physically. Its one aim is to prove that spirit and matter are one and the same. Activity in the world, whatever form it may take, as circumstances and conditions demand, is not a thing to be shunned or renounced. What is needed is to divinize life through the attainment of freedom from the individual sense by the mergence of it into God, who is at once the soul, the universe, and the all-transcendent, all-inclusive truth. In our language, from me to him, That is the quintessence of Gita. What is needed is nothing, we don't have to renounce anything, we don't have to run away from any field in which we are now placed, but to divinize life. Everywhere we try to see the God dimension. Everywhere. In any activity. No activity is taboo. The soul whose life is thus liberated, the Gita says, is utterly divine in all his movements, significant as well as insignificant. Now, action for him is but a natural and spontaneous flow of divine energy acting through him. As God's supreme will determines, this energy works through him equally to create, to preserve, and to destroy. Since this illumined personality intuitively bases his actions on the visions of the universal reality and performs them in a state of entirely bereft of individual sense, they do not affect him for good or evil. So long as the soul misses this acme of attainment, he flounders in the morass of conflicting dualities, good and evil, virtue and sin, ahimsa and himsa, pleasure and pain. And again, because when we read, when we hear, the mind may forget. So Papa again wanted to give us in a condensed form. Spontaneity of life, born of an egoless purity and innocence, and a consciousness of immortal freedom, and a condition of perfect divine ecstasy and peace, is the one supreme note and refrain of the voice that rings through the Gita. Spontaneity of life, born of an egoless purity and innocence, and a consciousness of immortal freedom, and a condition of perfect divine ecstasy and peace, is the one supreme note and refrain of the voice that rings through the Gita. So this is the preface. All of us can involve in this research, because then only each one has to individually do it. Maybe can read commentaries, but it will not get connected with our own. So everyone, after reading commentaries or anything, when we go through the meaning, we try to connect it with our own life experience. Then only we can ensure that Gita is entering into us or we are entering into Gita. Otherwise, it is a text. Just like so many books we keep at home. And whenever we are prompted from within or a mood comes, we take and read a few. No. This is something that has to do with our everyday life. So that means the Gita should enter into us, or we should enter into Gita. A great saint, Acharya Vinoba Bhave, we can say, is a disciple of Mahatma Gandhiji. Gandhiji was also a great, great follower of Bhagavad-Gita. So Acharya Vinoba Bhave says, Gita is a mother. Gita I in Marathi language they say. So whenever, Gandhiji used to say, whenever I find any stress, I go to her and I get the answer. So let us all pray to him who has now facilitated us to have an overview of Bhagavad Gita. We don't have much time. So an overview. You might be knowing, there are about 700 slokas spread in 18 chapters. It is impossible, humanly impossible to cover anything in 1 day or 2 days or 1 week. Not at all possible. So we tried the first attempt, first step in a building, we go to the first room, reception, or what you call drawing room, and then only we enter in. The first attempt is to have an overview. Then let us see which chapter, which theme gets aligned with it. And then we try to probe deep into it. This is the background. Throughout the chapters we find the above principle, which Papa has explained now. Spontaneity of life born of an egoless purity and innocence, a consciousness of immortal freedom, and a condition of perfect divine ecstasy and peace is the one supreme note and refrain of the voice that rings through the Gita. Throughout the chapters we find this principle is given emphasis repeatedly in so many ways. Now we are approaching Gita. This it can be taken that the whole scene at the Kurukshetra battlefield, many of you might be knowing, the Lord rendered this song celestial on a battlefield. So the whole scene, that's called Kurukshetra war. There's a place called Kurukshetra in India, North India, very near to Delhi. It can be taken, the whole scene at Kurukshetra battlefield and the character play there are in the minds of every one of us. We are trying to enter into Gita, not as a text. First it is our own. Lord Krishna stands for the indwelling reality. The power because of which the words are being uttered. The power because of which everybody is seeing, hearing, sitting, feeling that they are. That power, indwelling reality. So Sri Krishna stands for that indwelling reality. Arjuna represents the sense of individuality, the me and mine. Kauravas denote the negative and downpulling forces. Pandavas symbolize the positive and elevating forces. And finally, the field of Kurukshetra is the world of every one of us, within and without. The sense of individuality, all of us, oblivious of the substratum. As we said, we don't know. We start from the me and mine level. But we started from the seed. And in this Bhagavad-Gita, later on, he will say, I am the seed in everybody. So the Lord has given us this life. Our parents were the instrumental cause. And the me and mine has not entered into that seed. And from the seed level to the 9.5 months, till I came out of the mother's womb, I was provided with these 200 odd beautiful organs. And then I came out with nothing. When I came out, he has made all arrangements for me to exist. The air to breathe, the water to drink, the earth to exist, the space to move about, the 98.4 degrees to keep me alive. I had no role. The present me and mine had no role. Please think about it. Metals, minerals, gases, sun, rains, nothing we have not. Through Mother Nature, the same great provider who provided the life to me has provided everything in the form of Mother Nature and the society. Because as I started growing, I need lot of creature comforts. None of the creature comforts which I enjoy have been produced by me. He, through his chosen instruments, at different times and climes, gave the prompting inside to bring them one by one, all the creature comforts which you are enjoying, including the language through which we are now communicating. Not a single thing we have done. Everything has been provided. This we should. The sense of individuality, oblivious of the substratum. We are not aware of this. We take everything as granted. Tries to find a sense of fullness or happiness in the outer life. This is our life. Outer life means family life, professional life, social life. By retaining its separate identity. I want to lead a peaceful family life. I want to lead a successful, prosperous professional life. I want to lead my power, status, all those things, my security. And in the society, my stand, my name. So here, I want to retain my separate identity. Here starts the cobweb of challenges, duties, commitments, anxieties, stress, uncertainties, discomfort, discontentment, and the like. Because we are oblivious of the substratum. We have unknowingly, unwittingly forgotten about our base. When we buy a site and build a house, after building the house, we only see the house. We forget about the site. We hardly remember the site. When somebody comes, we will take him to the building and tell him, this is drawing room, this is this, this is that. Have we ever mentioned about the site? This is what exactly happens. But at a particular juncture, he or she gets awakened to the truth that only by understanding first and realizing later that there is a superpower named as the indwelling reality God, who is behind all creatures and situations, we will be free from all limitations. In other words, we should know that we are only playing the part allotted to us by Him in this world Leela, and nothing is really initiated by us. This theme is repeatedly brought out by Lord Krishna throughout the Bhagavad-Gita. An attempt is made to connect all chapters to understand the above theme. So this should be very clear in our mind. We have forgotten our base. Bhagavad-Gita is trying to make us aware of it. Not giving a tall talk, relating everything to our daily life. So the first chapter, which is called Vishada Yoga, 47 slokas are there. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, the venue for the pre-scripted drama, starts with the theme contained in the first chapter. The first sloka, through the words of Dhritarashtra, draws our attention to the cardinal mistake we are made to commit. Unknowingly, by allowing our mind to get dominated with the me and mine behind all our thoughts, words and deeds. And that is the root cause of all battles and conflicts in our own life, resulting in not becoming aware of His presence within as well as without. We then realize that ignorance of the origin of ourselves and the world of creation outside is the instrumental cause for the dominance of me and mine. Though it pushes us to the front, it also tries to mysteriously puncture our commitment to honor our duties. The me and mine, always thinking in terms of me and mine. So first chapter gives us this, because the first shloka he says, he asked Sanjaya, to explain to him what are my sons and Pandu's son, my brother's son do. My son, no? That was the cause. He could have averted the war by giving them their portion, but his attachment towards his children, me and mine, that was the whole root cause. So we take it, from our view, when we take it, we said the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the venue for the pre-scripted drama, starts with the theme contained in the first chapter. The first sloka through the words of Dhritarashtra draws our attention to the cardinal mistake we are made to commit by allowing our mind to get dominated with the me and mine behind all our thoughts, words and deeds. And this is the root cause of all battles and conflicts in our own life, resulting in not becoming aware of His presence. And then we move to the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, 72 slokas, supposed to be a very important chapter. While reacting to objects, emotions, thoughts and situations, we normally start from our me and mine level. The sense of individuality is caged in body, mind, intellect complex, which everyone feels is the planner, the actor, the enjoyer, the sufferer. Sri Krishna first touches upon the transient nature of this equipment and points out the immortal nature of the core of our being, which is in all equally. Because we start with body, mind, intellect, no? So first Krishna attacks this. It is transient, it has got a date of birth, it has got a date of death. So how can you can form an opinion based upon this transient nature, whereas the eternal nature is within you. To slowly free us from the grip of this sense of individuality, the Lord prescribes various steps, out of which the most important is to keep up a sense of equanimity in all circumstances. Before we react to events and individuals or situations or individuals, we should pause for a moment, no? Not from our level. Try to raise a little higher. There must be a purpose behind this. The same power which is in me is also in that situation, in that object, in that individual. But he has got his own reason to make me feel this is right. But I should know he has also been given the same feeling. So without prejudice, without getting irritated, without getting agitated, we will handle the situation, which is called evenness of the mind. Equanimity in all circumstances. Not fixing our mind on the fruits of every action in which we are engaged in would also help in remembering the subtle and mysterious power God behind every thought, word and deed. Whatever actions we do at any level, normally the expectation will be there for the fruit. Because the me and mine says, I want this, that's why I have to do it. But we should know that there are so many contributory factors for successfully handling any situation. It is not purely the me and mine. Suppose I am working in an IT company and I have been given a task of bringing out a software for a particular purpose, and after trial and error, I get the breakthrough and I present it to the employer, and then they said first class, they congratulate. But I should know right from the beginning. First of all, I was given a life by the Almighty. He provided so many things, including the language, including the various grades of education, various instruments, including the computer. And He prompted within me, because if He is not there, I will not be able to do it. So internally and externally, He has provided everything. So there are so many contributory factors behind my success. So I cannot appropriate the success to me exclusively. Beautifully brought out. Karmanye vadhigaraste mavaleshu katajana. Then another thing, only by exercising self-control, my sense organs are attracted by sense objects. And naturally that drains away my energy. God has given me the energy, the potentiality in me. Instead of diverting it for useful purposes, unknowingly, unwittingly, the sense organs take it away to dwell on various sense objects. So when at that come, we must be able to withdraw, recede into ourselves, self-control. Only by exercising self-control and contemplating upon the indwelling and all-pervading reality, one will be able to maintain the samatva attitude. This will pave the way for accepting, and everything happens only by His will. Another aspect which is hidden here, not explicitly mentioned. Whatever we do, we should try to bring in efficiency in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. In everywhere, excellence. Whether it applies to bringing out a software, or whether it is cleaning our commode, whether it is cooking or cleaning our plate. Right from the minutest, right from keeping various articles, right from handling various articles, excellence, whole-souled involvement should be there. These are all some of the ways by which the dominance of me and mine get reduced. And from there we move to the third chapter, 43 shlokas. To achieve the above objective, efforts are to be made to convert all actions as a dedication to the Lord, who has provided and who has been providing everything to us through His two creations, namely Mother Nature and society. Actions are to be done with a touch of love, with a touch of perfection, with a touch of dedication, with a touch of gratitude, never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. This will enable us to dwell on His remembrance. That divinizing all our activities, When we bring in this dimension, touch of love, touch of perfection, touch of dedication, touch of gratitude, unknowingly an effort has been made to transform the whole thing as a divine act. That is 3. And then we move to the 4th chapter. Karma Sannyas, 42 shlokas. Even while actions are going on, one has to develop the akarma attitude as an offering to Him through a natural and spontaneous process. By forsaking the fruits of action, reveling in His remembrance, not depending upon anybody for anything, one involves in action, at the same time feeling of not acting at all. When we go to the dining table, when we put our foodstuff into our mouth, actions are going on, no? But are we conscious of it? When you are writing, when you are reading, just imagine. Wherever the sense of individuality dominates, I feel I am the doer, I am the actor. But when we get immersed, involved in it, in me and mind recedes. And though actions are going on, we don't feel that we are doing the actions. So one involves in action at the same time feeling of not acting at all. This will free us from the unbearable load of the assumed burden. When we get into the aircraft or train or bus with a suitcase or some baggage, As soon as we put it in the loft. We don't carry it on our head. Because the bus or the train or the aircraft will take it. We don't have to carry it. Similarly, the moment we feel he is behind our action, he has prompted me to take it, the onus is on him. That is what is meant. This will free us from the unbearable load of the assumed burden. That is 4th chapter enlightens. Then we move to the 5th chapter. Karma Sannyasa Yoga, 29 shlokas. When it is seen that actions have a knack of creating controversies and stress, thoughts to abandon all action and retire to solitude might well up. Enough is enough, I will not. The moment I do something, there is a controversy. Better I will not do it. No. Here the Lord says that actions are superior to non-performance of actions. Because even when we retire to solitude by withdrawing from all fields of action, the mind will remain as disturbed as it was due to the unruly nature of the mind. The mind will remain as disturbed as it was due to the unruly nature of the mind, though austerities, that means control of cravings and desires, are practiced. It is turbulent, Therefore, instead of renouncing all actions, what is suggested is to realize that actions emanating from within are carried out by both organs of action and organs of perception, propelled by previous karma in the form of gunas brought forward from our previous birth. This will result in making us impervious of the results of all actions apparently done by us. That means we become only a witness. It may be a tall talk, but by practice. By practice, we act, we witness our own acts. We act at the apparent level, but we witness our own action so that we remain untouched and unaffected by its result. From there we move to the 6th chapter, Atma Samyama Yoga, 47 shlokas. Here comes the importance of subjecting oneself to self-control, which comprises of one-pointed concentration, leading to meditation on the indwelling reality, moderation in everything, moderation in food, in sleep, in work, everywhere. Yuktahara viharasya. Everywhere there is moderation. There is a limit beyond which we will not move. And maintaining a sense of evenness. These are the basic, vital, cardinal values by which self-control becomes a reality. For this, practice and dispassion are a must. Perseverance, patience, repeatedly performing with the right perspective, these are all necessary. Trial and error in our language. Practice, trial and error. We commit something, we do something, there is some mistake, again we do it, again we improve it, again we improve it. Everything we have learned up to this stage only by this trial and error method. So inward journey hastens to make us feel His presence. Along with this should be. That means we must meditative means He is making us to talk now. He is making us to hear now. He is making us to look now. This must be in our subconscious state, for which all these are necessary. Withdrawal from the without to the within. Then we move to the 7th chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, 30 shlokas. For the above, an effort to translate spiritual knowledge into spiritual experience is to be undertaken. Here again the Lord repeats, delving deep into the origin of oneself and the world help to actualize spirituality in daily life to a very great extent. Behind every creature comfort, behind every creation, we find the finger of God. No? Suppose when at the dining table, when we get a sabji with lady's finger or carrot, or just imagine how can the first bindi seed come? How is the first seed of this carrot? First seed of whatever we take. When we look at our dress, the first person who conceived the dress and all the materials for it, cotton. When you have seen a cotton plant, the cotton comes from a pod, So before that there is and in it, in that pod, along with cotton, seeds will be there. As we said, everything in Mother Nature, self-propagation. It is not, we have to do anything. So where from that first cotton came? First cotton seed. So like that we try to connect everything. This is what 7th chapter says. Origin of ourself and origin of everything. Not starting from me and mine. We may feel at our home, there is a chair, there is a book, anything is there. I have bought it from the market. Suddenly, inner prompting will come. Did you bring money with you when you came to this world? No. He gave you an opportunity, he gave you a field, he gave you all the wherewithals, and he made you to work, he made you to earn. So he is the source. That is what. An effort to translate spiritual knowledge into spiritual experience is to be undertaken, delving deep into the origin of oneself and the world, help to actualize spirituality in daily life to a very great extent. The simile is, different pictures drawn by the same artist with the same brush on the same canvas evoke different feelings. Similarly, the Supreme Artist, the Lord, brings out the varied manifestation with the same ingredients which are also created by Him. Because normally a doubt will come, if He is the originator, why should there be multiplicity? Persons are different. The animal kingdom, there are so many species. Plant kingdom, there are so many species. Insects, there are so many. So multiplicity is there. If the cause for everything is one and the same, why this multiplicity? That is also answered in this chapter. So here he says, it is like different pictures drawn by the same artist with the same brush on the same canvas evoke different feelings. Similarly, the Supreme Artist, Lord, brings out the varied manifestation with the same ingredients which are also created by Him, reminding us of the source of all sources, reduces the dominance of the sense of individuality. The sweetness in the sugarcane, the bitterness in the bitter gourd, the spiciness in the chili, the sourness in the tomato. Just imagine. Different taste, different types, all from the same source. Next we move to the 8th chapter. Periodical contemplation of death of the body and the need to dwell on the indwelling reality at all times and places will help in developing the needed detachment from the ephemerals. So we have been told that the me and mine is the cause for all our disturbances, mental disturbances. But we should know in the 2nd chapter he has elaborately discussed about the transient nature of this body, mind, intellect. So periodical contemplation of death. Our great-grandfathers, they lived, they passed away. To many of us, the grandfathers, they have passed away. To many, the parents have passed away. So one day we will also pass away. Wherever there is a date of birth, there is a date of death. This I want to conveniently forget. And so the Lord here assures that if at the time of leaving this body, if you remember me, the source, then you will come back to me. Antakaleja mameva smaran. For that we have to practice now, Otherwise we will not remember at the time of death. So this has to be constantly hammered. In one sloka he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Therefore at all times and in all places, remember me and fight the battle of life. So each one of us will devise a method to remember him. So that is highlighted in 8th chapter. Then we move to the 9th chapter. 34 shlokas. By realizing that he is the goal, he is the supporter, he is the Lord, he is the witness, he is the abode, he is the refuge, he is the friend, he is the origin, the dissolution, the substratum, the storehouse, the seed immutable. By realizing that he is there, whatever action is done, whatever is eaten, whatever is offered as whatever is given, whatever austerity performed, all are offered to him totally. That means we are constantly trying to become aware, whether we are in our household life, in our professional life, in our social life, in our personal life. Everything has been given by you. Everything has been given by you. So in one sloka, beautifully all these attributes have been brought out. And of all these, the friend, that is very, very, because rest of the things may look like, something which we cannot understand. But when he says, friend, Yadirbarta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrad Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidanam Bijam Avyayam. Friend means, when we started thinking, he gave us the clarity like this. If friend means you don't have to observe any formalities, free from all protocols. And the friendship is not dependent upon any condition. So far we have not recognized him that he is seated inside. We have been thinking that we are doing everything by ourselves. But he will not let us down. Just because we have not recognized him, we have not made any effort to know him, we have not made any effort to express our gratitude, he has not forsaken us. Because he is our true friend. The relationship between Arjuna and Sri Krishna was on the friendly level. Every now and then he said, you are my close friend. When we were reading it, it was a textual meaning only. Then later on when we try to look at ourselves, then we find, yes, all these years I have not recognized you, that bereft of you, I don't exist. This truth I have never understood. But still he has not left me. He has been with me. Irrespective of the fact whether I know him, whether I worship him, whether I regard him, whether I deny him, whether I abuse him, whether I insult him, he has not left me. Think about it. So whatever is done, I am offering back to him. If you are not there, I cannot think. I cannot conceive this idea. I cannot get it done. Because you are there, everything is possible. So this, Vinobaji names it as, this is the royal path, this particular Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yogam. Express highway to God, where we do not have to bother about anything because we are safe in His hands. You gave us a life, you have been provided everything, including the body, mind, intellect complex, and you provided everything outside also. And I am always, so whatever you make me to do, I am offering back to you. In the form of my thoughts, in the form of my words, in the form of my deeds. So that is why it is called express highway. There is no risk involved. And with that background, we move to the 10th chapter. It is called Vibhuti Yoga with 42 shlokas. The vast creation is like God's book. When our eyes are covered with thick veils, me and mine, we think that the book is closed. Everywhere in this book, the name of the Lord is written in beautiful letters, but we fail to read it. Everything is beautiful. The other day we were telling, when we look at this level, we will find only limited people, limited objects, limited things. Certain things our mind will be comfortable with, certain things our mind may not be comfortable with. But when we raise ourselves, when we go to the rooftop, this terrace, and from there when we start viewing it, the field gets expanded, we find, very nice, beautiful. And when we see from a mountain top, excellent, And from the when the aircraft, when it lowers down before the landing, beautiful means beautiful. So that is why it is given here. When our eyes are covered at this level, covered with thick veils, we think that the book is closed, only me and mine is there. Everything I see, I put a tab with this me and mine. I am not seeing the reality. But everywhere in the book, the name of the Lord is written in beautiful letters, but we fail to read it. We get this description of the world manifestation, that the divine has become the many through its yoga power. Though he is one, he can also be many. An in-depth study of his vibhuti, vibhuti means power of manifestation, helps to know him more clearly. One method is to see him in pure and gentle forms among human beings and grand and beautiful forms in nature. The Lord assures that when devotion is developed in that particular situation or event or person or object, in bhaktas, to know and love him, he will take those bhaktas unto himself. That means bhaktas mean devotees. When the moment we start developing this devotional attitude, you have provided. You are there and everywhere. You are making me to lead a family life. You are making me to lead a professional life. You are making me to lead a social life. You are making me to lead a personal life also. If this gets strengthened, stabilized, concretized, then Lord assures He will take him to himself. And with that background, we move to the 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Darshanam, 55 slokas. Wherever a greater manifestation of energy, beneficial and uplifting humanity become expressive, though everything is everywhere, in everybody, in everything he is there, it doesn't become expressive, That's why we go to Mahatmas, celebrates noble people. That's why he says a greater manifestation of energy, beneficial and uplifting humanity become expressive. We should know that he is present there. This is how we start seeing him. From the me to me level, how do we raise ourselves? This is one. A portion of His own, God's own infinite nature is present in all of us. The Lord is present in different objects and different attributes, that we find joy in them and feel a kind of relationship with them. The Lord says that He who is free from enmity to all creatures, the last sloka of this chapter, the Lord says that He who is free from enmity to all creatures, who is ever engrossed in serving the world impartially without expectation, who dedicates all his actions to Him, who is full of devotion, who forgives all, and is detached and full of love, becomes an instrument of Him. That last sloka, it puts a cap on the entire one. In a capsule, Lord is giving us the guidance. We don't have to carry everything, this one particular sloka. And from there we move to the 12th chapter. It's 20 slokas. There are only 2 chapters in Bhagavad-Gita where it is limited to these 20 slokas. This 12th and 15th. And 12th chapter is a wonderful chapter. It is called Bhakti Yoga. The other day we mentioned, when Gandhiji, in the midst of various activities, not only the freedom movement, but also various social activities to improve the standard of life of everyone, still he found time to retire to Himalayas for 21 days to dwell upon Bhagavad-Gita. And he named it as Anasakti Yoga. Detachment. And he started this from this 12th chapter. That is the beauty. Why this 12th chapter? The 7 slokas gives a clear-cut direction. We don't have to read anything, I would say. Who is the dearest devotee of the indwelling God? No? He gives us a graphic guidance. People like us who are involved in daily life, a language which we can understand. In 7 slokas, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karuneyevaja. So devotion is of 2 kinds, one to the form and to the other formless. Doubt arises as to which is superior. Worship to the form with supreme Shraddha and ever steadfast, as also worship to the formless by those who have subdued all the senses, even-minded everywhere, engage in the welfare of beings, both take to the same goal. Here in this chapter he also addresses worship through a form, worship through a formless. God is without name and form, the abstract. It's an energy. But at the same time, people like us, who have got a name and form, we find it extremely difficult to start the journey on a formless abstract idea. Only very few can do that. The mind has to concentrate upon something, So that is why the form came. And later on we transcend the form. But both are valid. Like what? Innocent alphabets, A to Z. They are innocent by nature. But when you put 2 or 3 alphabets together, it communicates a theme. L-O-V-E, love, Innocent with letters. But the theme is impersonal, But words are palpable. Theme is not visible. So it is nameless, formless. But nameless, formless can be conveyed only through a name and form. Until we reach a stage where we don't need anything. So it's valid. We are not thinking only about image worship or deity worship. Everything with us got a name and form. It represents the name and nameless and formless. It symbolizes the nameless, formless. When you see the national flag is tangible, you can see that. But it represents the whole nation. We salute the flag, mentally feeling, we are saluting the whole nation and the population and the rich heritage it has been, because of which we are all living. So the personal, impersonal is interlinked in all our activities. If we start researching, going deeper, everything will become clear. So that he highlights in the 12th chapter. And then, at the same time, it is difficult for those whose minds are set on the unmanifest by the embodied. One who is with equality of vision is dear to him. The Lord enumerates more than 30 qualities, and trying to practice these qualities entitles one to become the dearest devotee. That's what we were telling. Malice towards none, friendship towards all, compassionate towards all. Though we are possessing, the possessive nature is not within us, ownership is not with us. We always become aware that because of him only I exist, so that the sense of individuality will not arrogate anything. Nirmamo nirahankar. Equal-mindedness, samadukka sugakshami. I will be having endurance capacity. I will be able to forgive everybody. Always contented. God has given me this much. He may ask me to do more, okay. But every time the sense of contentment. Santushta satatam yogi. Yatatma dridhanishchaya. Mayarpida manobuddhihi yomad bhakta samepriya. Like that in 7 slokas he beautifully explains about the hints or clues for us to become eligible, to qualify ourselves as his dearest devotee. 12th chapter. And then we move to the 13th chapter. It's called Kshetratnya Yoga with 34 shlokas. Kshetra and Kshetratnya means the body and the knower of the body. Though we unknowingly limit ourselves to this body level, because the mind and intellect is housed or what you call lodged in this body, this is the center, this is the residence. We know that we have got a body. That means we can't be the body. Think like that. So here in this particular chapter, he explains the body as the field and himself as the knower of the kshetra. The great primordial elements, egoism as also causal unmanifested nature, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 objects of senses, desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, the aggregate, the intelligence, fortitude, constitute the field. Whatever we see outside. And the body is also constituted of that. And the knower of the field is explained as one shining by the function. The Lord also enumerates more than 20 values to realize the purpose of true knowledge. How to sift, separate the knower of the body from the body. He brings it out through 20 values, more than 20 values. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam, Acharyopa. Like that beautifully he brings out. A deeper study into the value will help us to sift, separate. Now it is like this. That is why we are unable to see beyond this level. So an effort is made to slowly, Body is there, no doubt. Through the body only I express, but I am not the body. Though I have the body, I am not the body. And then we move to the 14th chapter. Gunatraya Vibhagayo, 27 shlokas. No, sorry. The Lord emphatically declares that all forms that appear in the world are produced by Prakriti and that He is the seed-giving Father. You know, in Vedantic language, these words are used. Prakriti, Purusha, Purushottama. In our language, we can say the creation and the principle behind the creation, the activator, propelling force, and that which presides over both the power and the creation. So the Lord emphatically declares that all forms that appear in the world are produced by Prakriti and that He is the seed-giving Father. All forms in that sloka. And the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, passive, aggressive, indolent. Right from morning till night, when we react to events and individuals during our waking state, this characteristic, it's called swabhava, guna. It is there. To what extent, to what degree it is there, that we have now analyzed. Now we will start slowly analyzing. Whether it is 10% passive, 60% aggressive, and the balance 30 is indolent, or whether it is 15, 20, like that, no? Whether it's 50-50, a stage should come when the predominance of sattva, passive, should be more and more. So that is called Gunatraya Vibhaga. He also points out that sattva is luminous, pure, harmless. At the same time, binds by attachment to happiness and knowledge. Rajas stands for passion, giving rise to thirst and attachment, binding the embodied to attachment to action. Tamas, born of ignorance, stupefying all bodies, bind by misapprehension, indolence and sleep. Idlers, The embodied one, having gone beyond these three, is freed from birth, death, old age, sorrow, attains to immortality. So even a stage comes when we have to go beyond this passive sattva. So we now watch. Gita Mother asks us to watch, evaluate which is predominant in us, which trait. Guna means trait, T-R-A-I-T. That which dominates in all our thoughts, words and deeds. We would have found many people, many people go there and then they shout, they do something, they say something, but the other man keeps quiet, hears everything, and then slowly reacts, and the other man becomes cool, calm. He starts thinking about it, and then he corrects himself. So that means the sattvic has passion. The passive aspect is gaining upper hand. So that means lesser conflict in our mind. Everything, we can watch ourselves. We will be serene, calm, quiet, peaceful. Then we move to the 15th chapter, Purushottama Yoga, 20 shlokas. We can establish happy relations through him with everybody else. We slowly, by this introverted inquiry and with earnestness when we do that, though there may be many things on which our sense of individuality may disagree, in the shortest possible time, he will help us to pull us back. so that the relationship is maintained in total disregard to what their attitude is towards us. So to know him is called jnana, to love him is bhakti, devotion, to serve him always is karma. So we can adopt a jnana, bhakti, karma combination and become free even when we are handling the world around us. For every act, these three are essential. Normally what comes to our mind is, suppose you invite me for a cup of coffee. You should know basically how to prepare coffee, what are needed and how to prepare coffee, the academic side. And you should lovingly prepare. No? It is not the 150 ml of decoction, 150 milliliter of water, not that. Those are all technical. But every time when you prepare, it should be tasty, it should not be too strong, it should not be too light, it should have the needed sweetness, it should have the aroma. So you will apply your mind, the love dimension. And the knowledge and the love dimension alone is not enough. You should do the act of preparing the coffee. When you are typing out a letter, we should know what to write, how to present matters. And it should lovingly present it. Because the other party, the reader, should get your idea, your theme. And the act of typing also should be there. No? So when we stretch this to every department of activities, then the jnana, bhakti, karma, in India, we can say, knowledge, devotion and action. That combination, and become free even when we are handling the world around us. And then we move to the 16th chapter, Deivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, 24 shlokas. Human approaches are divided into two categories, the divine and non-divine attributes. In us, this is there. At times it may be latent, at times it may be expressive, predominant. The Lord, while explaining 26 values to portray the divine qualities, he also lists out innumerable non-divine attributes. The former one helps in moving towards him, while the latter moves away from him. Meaning, the sense of individuality gets concretized when we concentrate upon the non-divine attributes. But our journey towards him will get hastened if we concentrate on the 26 values, divine qualities. Beautiful it is. And then we got 17th chapter. Shraddha. Shraddha means, attentively doing, knowingly doing, consciously doing. Not at the superficial level. Everything we do, this is to be extended to every action that we perform. Shraddha of each is according to his or her natural disposition, svabhava, which consists of sattva, rajas, tamas. One is verily what one Shraddha is. Elaborate details are given on the characteristic of food, austerity, almsgiving, yajna, dana, tapas. We have to be productive, we have to be creative. That is yajna. We have to be charitable in nature, that is dana. At the same time, we should be taking care of. A healthy mind and a healthy body is needed to perform all these things. So these are characterized beautifully by yajna, dana, tapas. Yajna is giving back to Mother Nature. Dana to give back to the society. Tapas is to replenish the body with austerity. These are the three types of austerity. 5 of each of body and mind. Body. Revering spiritually evolved souls, purity, straightforwardness, continence, non-injury, they are called the austerity of the body. Mind, serenity of mind, gentleness, silence, self-control, honesty of motive. This is called the mental austerity. Speech which causes no vexation, which is true, as also agreeable and beneficial, and regular study of the elevating books, these are said to form the austerity of speech. And we move to the last one, 78 slokas. This is the quintessence of entire 17 chapters. This chapter is the summing up of all that has been discussed above. The whole yoga of the Gita is that wonderful attitude of developing oneness with all. And whatever fruits come out of action we do will go to the good of all. We are all enjoying all the creature comforts, We don't know the benefactor who did this, who authored this. But we are all the beneficiaries. We have taken it as granted because we thought, we have paid and got it. No. Your money cannot give you this comfort. A creature comfort should be there. Nobody can remain without action. However much we hear about the method to bring in the God dimension while involving activities, we may fail or forget. Probably that might have prompted the Lord to repeat, the only method for common man is to detach from the fruits of action and dedicate to Him. Thus, he concludes that only through loving devotion one can unravel the secrets of the Supreme Divine Personality. He then reminds Arjuna that God dwells in the hearts of all living creatures and directs their movements according to their karmas. Karmas means the leftover from our previous birth. We must take His shelter, think of Him, dedicate all our actions to Him, make Him our ultimate goal. Then, by His grace, we will easily overcome all difficulties and obstacles. However, if we get driven by pride and act according to our impulses, we will fail. To motivate everyone to think on the above lines, the Lord portrays in detail the attributes of those who have attained perfection in spirituality and realized the Brahman. He adds that even these perfect yogis find engaging in Bhakti transcendental to complete their Brahmic realization. But expounding this confidential knowledge to the deserving soul is the highest act of love and is cherished by God Himself. The way to train ourselves not to take upon our shoulders the burden of being the doer of the action, we should keep reflecting, I just happen to be a just instrumental. I am not really the doer of actions. We should first assume this stand with humility. This, of course, will not immediately result in the complete eradication of the doership. It can happen only gradually. The next step is to feel that the activities do not touch the self in us. They are of the body. I am not the transient and mortal body. I am full of divine consciousness. The clarion call of the Gita is this: reduce yourself to zero. Let there be the Lord and the Lord alone in the universe. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. I will take care of your outer and inner welfare. No? This is the assurance he gives in the 18th chapter. If you come to me exclusively, only depending upon me, I assure you this inner riches as well as the outer welfare. So that means you have to reduce yourself to zero. We become totally aware that every moment of our life is activated, pulsated, motivated, propelled by Him and Him and Him alone. And He is called the life force. That language we can all understand. Without life, we will not be sitting here now. The basic fundamental substratum is in the form of life force, consciousness, primordial intelligence. Peace Pilgrim was in this great land. She walked 25,000 miles with nothing to fall back upon excepting God. Whatever requisites are needed for the basic living, that is all put in her tunic, that's all. She explains, she did not have any textual or background or something like that. Purely from experience, purely from reflection. And she named God as peace. And we will go through her words. We lump together all things that are beyond the capacity of all of us collectively to understand. And one name we give to all those things together is God. Therefore, God is the creative force, the sustaining power, that which motivates towards constant change, the overall intelligence which governs the universe by physical and spiritual law, truth, love, goodness, kindness, beauty, the ever-present, all-pervading essence or spirit, which binds the everything in the universe together, gives life to everything in the universe. God is love. Whenever you reach out in loving kindness, you are expressing God. God is truth. Whenever you seek truth, you are seeking God. God is beauty. Whenever you touch the beauty of a flower or a sunset, you are touching God. God is the intelligence that creates all, sustains all, binds all together, gives life to all. Yes, God is the essence of all. You are within God, God is within you. You could not be where God is not. Permeating all is the law of God, physical law, spiritual law. Disobey it, you feel unhappiness, you feel separated from God. Obey it, you feel harmony, you feel close to God. As you live in harmony with the divine law, you feel closer to and develop more love for God. "18 chapters we may not be able to remember. But this overview will definitely give us some. You have been hearing so many words. One word, one expression might link you to the whole thing. That is how we start. Because otherwise it is not humanly possible. 700 slokas, 18 chapters. The last line you read, you forget about the first line, no? You will not be able to remember. So the best way is, when you have this Rajdhani Express, when we go through the whole thing, something will remain with us. And with that we enter into the mansion of Gita. Thinking the Gita is a mansion, with 18-roomed mansion. Each room is, different specification. So when you make a whole round of it and come out, you pause for a moment. Something in one room would have attracted. You go to that room. And then you will find mysteriously, depending upon the earnestness he gives us, that we will get slowly connected to all rooms. So when we talk about first chapter, the delusion, the me and mine is the roadblock. Second, immediately we think about efficiency in action, equanimity in all circumstances, not depending upon the fruits, perishability of the body, mind, intellect, imperishable nature of the indwelling spirit. And when we move to the third, then we remember actions. All action. We cannot remain a second without action. Actions are to be divinized. And then the fourth chapter, it says, while doing action, suppose we bring the devotional aspect, we will not be feeling that we are doing any action. And in the fourth, rather than renouncing action, we will try to divinize all action. Let us not get frustrated and leave the whole thing and go. And for this, the sixth chapter says we should have some self-control, moderation, one-pointedness, evenness of mind. And then we move to the seventh chapter, where we find the knowledge has to be translated into action by knowing the different the characteristics, our origin and the world origin. The multiplicity, though the source is one, the expressions are different. Then when we go to the 8th, thinking about the death phenomenon. So that he has given us a wonderful opportunity of this human life. During this period, I must be able to eke out the maximum benefit out of it by remembering him, I should know this body, mind, intellect complex is always transient. It is perishable. So I am reminded of this death. And from there, 9th, if I dedicate everything to him, always if I think anything had that happened, any thought, any word, any deed, I am doing this to him, that is the safest passport. I don't have to bother about anything. Then we go to the 10th Vibhuti Yoga. Initially we try to see the noble ones, and later on, that will only help us. Vinobaji used to say, first you read the alphabets, small a, small b, small c. Then you start writing big A, capital B. Then you start including the alphabets and trying to bring out the words, like that. And the Vishwarupa Darshanam, there finally he says, who is my true devotee? In the sense, who will come to me? A person without any vengeance, any enmity towards any creation, and who is always devoted to me. He lists out the quality. Then we move to the 12th qualification of a devotee of God, and also the wonderful harmonious blending of both nameless and then with name and with form. Then the 13th chapter, where the knower of the body and the body is separated, that we try to understand. I have a body, but I am not the body. I have a mind, I am not the mind. I have an intellect, I am not the intellect. But through body, mind, intellect, I express myself, but I am not that. Like that is given in 13th chapter. And then we move to the 14th. There the different characteristics are there. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, we said passive, aggressive and indolent. Elaborate. So from morning till evening, I am under the influence of these three. So I should know which is dominating, which should dominate me. And from there we move to the 15th. To know about him is knowledge. So a wonderful harmonious combination of knowledge, devotion and action. And then 16th, we should be always alert that the downpulling forces and the uplifting forces are inside us. We should be alert. And through so many values, we have been given the clues how to move towards him, how to stop moving away from him. Then the 17th, attentiveness should be there in all that we do, in all that we think, in all that we talk. And then finally, total surrender to him, 18th chapter. Total surrender, because I become fully aware that everything happens only by his will. Initially, intellectually we understand, then we slowly translate them to the extent possible. In one of these slokas, we forgot to mention in this overview, I may not be able to fully implement all these things. I have limitations. Over the years, I have built up this body, mind, intellect concept. It is difficult for me. So the Lord says, don't worry. Even 5% you do, very good. 10% you do, very good. He doesn't say that only if you do 100%. No. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Even if you do a little, that will take you to the ultimate. That means we must make a beginning. We don't have much time, so even now we have trespassed 15 minutes. So if anything is there, another 15 minutes we can share. Like this, what we have learned, closing your eyes, each chapter comes before you, relating to our daily life. And then we enter into that particular room, particular chapter, and try to connect it up through our own experience. Then only it becomes mine. Otherwise it will be a textual knowledge. It will be somebody's commentary. It will not enter into me. So these are all some of the thoughts which today we were prompted to share with you all. If anybody would like to share any thoughts on this. Yes. Eh?
Talk about free will.
He has given us a freedom, sense of freedom, no freedom. He has given us a sense of freedom by giving us a sense of individuality. That is why all of us feel, I am talking, I am doing, I am thinking. But actually the control is within him. So our master used to say, in reality we have no will of our own. But as long as we maintain this sense of individuality, we make use of that sense of freedom to know him. Now we feel that we have got a will to do that. With that, we try to know him and know that it is his will that is acting through me. So essentially, in truth, there is no free will. It is like normally great seers used to bring out this example. It is like a cow tied to a stem or a tree. The length of the rope, it gives a little freedom for it to move around. It can choose. There is a lot of fodder is there, it can go and take. There is a resting place, ground is there, it can rest. There is water there, it can go and take. There is a swampy place we should avoid. Like that, has it got a freedom? Yes. But has it got a freedom? No. It is like that he has given us a sense of individuality and given us a sense of freedom. With that freedom, we are talking now. We are trying to know him. He is making us to do it. So in the subconscious state, we should be having this idea that but for you, I am there. If you are not there, I am not there. You means it is not a person, it is the power, the life. As we keep on delving deeper into it, it will become clearer to us. We have been promised by all seers that they will take us, it will take us inward and to get connected with it. It may get connected, again disconnected, connected, disconnected. It will go on for some time and finally the fusion will take place. Anything else? And this is only a rough cut after all the in-depth study. Again we have to study, we have to go through. But now first, a rough cut is necessary, then only you can polish it. Because it is an uphill task. Because the mind, the sense of individuality will always resist. Because we are trying to subdue its dominance in us. So it will resist. I can do this, I can do that, I have done this, I have, so many things will come. So as we travel through these chapters, every time this resistance will be there. So we have to again go, is it so? Is it so? Just like the question came, self-will or divine will, which is predominant? So we have to still work out and do the polishing. First rough cut has emerged, that's all. Anything else? You gave us an opportunity now, so that we can start the polishing. Tell me.
In my understanding, it appears that the law of karma is supreme. It's like a gravitational force. How does one reconcile this with grace, or when you go to temple, when you go to saints? What are we looking for if karma can't be?
External aids do help to a certain extent only. What is essentially required from the lives of all masters who have scaled the heights. That is why every now and then we try to go through the biographical sketches, how they scaled. Then we know that they were relying on the inner. So initially all the external aids will help, like now what this session. But the moment we go out, we may forget, Unless we do the contemplation, inner penetration with these ideas. In Indian language we say manana, it should be a regular one. We should keep on going inward. And every now and then we don't have to discard any external aid. It will help us. In the busy schedule, suppose you say, I want to go to Ganesh temple. The moment you remember Ganesh temple, at least for a split second, you are connecting yourself with the Supreme Power. So external aid, it has got relevance, but to become aware of His presence within, we have to do the manana intensely. Deep contemplation, meditation is necessary. Deep contemplation. That means when we handle anything, it is not at the superficial level we should be able to. Meditative handling, not simply sitting, we don't mean that. Meditative handling, meditative chanting, meditative singing, meditative doing every work. That means we are trying to connect Him. These external props initially guide us, but ultimately we have to rely upon the inner one, people like us. As we said the other day, there are many in India saints who have scaled the heights through a external prop also. But theirs was exclusive. They were very clear about it. The indwelling reality has come out in this form, and that is the all-pervading reality. But that state of mind we don't have. We are very much involved in activities where the me and mine is very predominant. So we have to devise a method by which we get connected to Him. The method suggested by all, one and all, is to rely upon the inner guru, inner guidance, inner support, inner prop. Because the moment we get a grip on the inner guidance, we are always conscious of it. The external prop only when you get in touch with, when you are before this, when you remember this, you get connected. But the inner one, it is not like that. Once we get a grip on that inner, then we get stabilized in it. Otherwise, difficult. A momentary, emotional level, sentimental level, everything will be there. But in truth, we feel we are. We never bring this passive voice, always active voice. The other one is passive voice. I am made to think, I am made to act, I am made to show my anger, I am made to cry, I am made to weep, I am made to win, lose, I am made to gain. Everything, it's a passive voice. That will come only, that will be the outcome of your inward journey. You get stabilized in it. Because the moment I feel that he will say from, what are you talking? If I am not there, can you talk? Oh, sorry, immediately. Immediately we get corrected. That is why our master used to say, develop an inner communication, the inner dialogue with him on a daily basis. God's request. This is something beautifully brought out by somebody, When you got up this morning, God tells us, Got it? God's request. You have. When you got up this morning, God tells each one of us, okay? I observed you, I hope you would talk to me. No matter if they were only a few words, asking my opinion or just giving thanks for something that happened to you yesterday. But I noticed that you were very busy, looking for the appropriate clothes to wear and go to work. I continued hoping, while you were doing this in a hurry, I knew that there will still be some minutes for you to stop for a moment and tell me hello. But you were too much busy. That is why I lighted the sky for you. I filled it with colors and beautiful songs of birds to see if you would hear me. But you did not notice this. I observed you while going to work, and I waited patiently the whole day. With all your activities, I suppose you were too much busy to tell me something. While you were coming back, I noticed your tiredness, and I wanted you to shower upon you some water to take away your stress. I wanted to make you a favor so that you would think of me, but you got angry and offended my name. What a time you have chosen, you will say, I really wished you would talk to me. There was still enough time. God is still hoping. Later on, you turned on the television. I waited patiently while you were watching it and having your supper, but you forgot again to talk to me. I noticed that you were tired. I understood your silence. I darkened the clarity of the sky. I did not leave you in darkness. I just changed it with a small light. It was already beautiful, but you were not interested in seeing it. At the time of sleeping, I think you were already exhausted. After saying good night to your family, you lay on your bed and fell asleep almost instantly. I accompanied your sleep with music. My night animals did very well. No problem, because you might not realize that I am always there for you. I have more patience than what you can imagine. I would like to teach you also how to be patient with others. I love you so much that I wait every day for a prayer. The landscape that I make is only for you. Well, you are getting up again, and I hope again, just out of my love for you, may you have a nice day, your friend God. So the next day is also hoping you will talk. This is the reality in all. We may outwardly go to a temple, outwardly go to an ashram, do something and come back. But we have not really talked to him. So even while I stand before the deity, this dialogue should be there, You have brought me to remind you through this form. So he is desperately seeking our contact. That's what some people used to say, desperately seeking. Once you turn to me, that is enough for me. So prayer, everything helps in that sense. That is why everywhere we go through this prayer, touching prayer. It should come from the bottom of the heart. And later on we can read out somebody's prayer. At the moment, after 2 or 3 days, we will find it is slipping into a ritualistic. So we stop there. We draft our own prayer in our own language. That means you are trying to communicate with him, link with him. That is why the master says, simple thing is, give a name and chant. Wherever you are, even if it is for a short time, 1 minute, 1 second, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, if I can remember him. Even the period ever so small. This is the word he used. Even the period ever so small, chant his name with the feeling, so that the communication is made alive. Already 6 o'clock. So we are very happy you gave us an opportunity to go through this celestial song and then dwell on the same subject, If he has not provided an opportunity for us, we may also not dwell more on it. So let us all pray to him who is within us, who has provided, who has facilitated all these to us, to somehow make us aware of his presence and enable us to hand over the assumed ownership of everything that I hold as mine to the real owner, the indwelling reality. Because Ram stands for this indwelling and all-pervading reality. So with that attitude, bhavana, we will try to connect ourselves for all that he has done now. Today he made us to come to Ganesh Mandir, and ADG was kind enough to provide us this wonderful opportunity. Electricity was provided, accommodation was provided, everybody was able to commute and reach here. And then the song is there, celestial song, a gist of it, a synopsis he motivated to prepare, and he made us everyone to go through it. So with that bhavana, with that attitude, we will try to remember him and pray to him to make us aware of his presence within. With that attitude, we will chant 3 times. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Thank you all very much. Hari Om.